Hey guys, and welcome to the Dirt on Composting and Preventing Food Waste. My name is Amy Bush, and I'm the General Manager of the Cox Fitness Centers. And one of the things I'm very passionate about is composting, reducing, reusing, recycling, and any way that I can help the planet and the earth. This is specifically with my food waste that I have at home. So composting, I use a service here. I don't actually have a compost pile at my house. So I use a service here in Atlanta called Compost Now. You can find out more about it, and if they service your city or your area, it's compostnow.org. There are a lot of other businesses that do this same kind of model. It's like a trash service where they give you the list of things you can put in it, and some services are a little different than others on what they can break down for you, but definitely worth checking it out. Compost is great to use for your plants. I have some peppers and tomatoes I'll be planting soon. So I actually just had enough food waste to yield a 40-pound bag of compost. Compost kind of acts as that fertilizer that you would typically get from the store to help your plants thrive and grow with all the minerals that they need. It's also organic material added to the soil to help plants grow, food scraps, yard waste. They make up 30% of what we throw away that ends up in a landfill that could be actually used for compost material. So what is it made of? It's made of 3 different things. You've got your browns, your greens, and your water. So your browns are your carbon pieces. Those would be your dead leaves, your twigs, your branches, things from the yard that are deteriorating, dying, already turned that brown color. Leaves, also great for that. As well as other dead plants, things of those materials. You just want to make sure if there are dead plants, make sure there's no disease that has taken over the plant when you add that into your compost pile. Then your nitrogens, your greens, so that's your grass clippings, your vegetable and fruit waste and scraps from the kitchen, your coffee grounds, that's a great one to add for all my coffee drinkers out there. Coffee grounds and the filter usually throws in there as well. And then you have your water, your high quality H2O. So that water is what helps those carbons break down those dead brown items that you add in. So the water is very important, that moisture to kind of mix in. Turning your pile, making sure you have even amounts of the greens and the browns and water is going to be what you need to have a thriving compost pile. Turning, adding the moisture when needed, but not overdoing it with that as well. Your soil will start to yield from the bottom of your pile up. You'll have different worms and things that break that down for you. And it's a really cool science project for you to kind of see and get your kids involved in as well. So some of those main ingredients from your kitchen that you can add in there, your fruits, your veggies, your eggshells, your coffee grounds like I mentioned, and filters, tea bags, nutshells, shredded newspaper, cardboard, other paper, yard trimmings of course, grass clippings like I mentioned before, house plants, again making sure that you don't have any kind of disease, plant disease that's thriving in that, because that will transfer to your compost pile and then potentially to your new plants or vegetation that you're working on. Sawdust, hay, straw, leaves like I mentioned, wood chips, and then cotton wool rags as well. It may take longer to actually break down because it is processed a little bit more, but hair and fur, and then fireplace ashes that are cool, of course. Some big no's that you should watch out for are coal or charcoal. Dairy products, do not add that. Fats, grease, lard, oil, meats and bones, and then pet waste, of course. Some of the compost organizations that I use actually include meat and bones. So again, you need to check with your provider if you are using an actual organization for that. And you can always go online, learn a little bit more from the EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency of the United States. They have a bunch of great information for you to learn more about composting and making your own compost bin. It's a great thing that you could add to your spring or summer kind of do-it-yourself list. Some benefits, again, it enriches the soil, reduces the need for fertilizer, and reduces, of course, food waste. So more on that in just a minute. So how? outdoors, choose a shady spot with a water source that's nearby, whether it's from a hose or a creek or something of that source, a bucket that you keep rainwater in. Adding greens and browns, making sure the larger pieces are chopped down. Again, that will help increase your yield. Will be faster, and it does take time. I'll talk about that in a second. Moisten your dry pieces, your browns, and then once the pile is established, mix those green clippings and green waste 10 inches into the pile. So you want your greens to get down to where they can break down on that ground level. Don't want them necessarily all on the top. Again, mixing, making sure that is mixed up well as well. And then when material is dark, like I said at the bottom, your compost is ready to use, which is the coolest little science experiment you could ever do. But indoor composting, you check your local hardware store. A lot of them have special bins that you can use. Make sure you get airtight so you don't really have much, fruit flies or smells or things of that could come with those. Check those hardware stores. Also, check out your services, like I mentioned, in your area. That'll do it all for you, which is really convenient and great. You also, when you do that, they weigh your compost for you and tell you how much food you've eliminated, food waste, and how much you've offset different modes of transportation and other things. It's a great thing to see because they really break it down for you and give you quantitative information on what you're doing and what you're saving from a landfill. So pretty cool. But yeah, so preventing food waste, let's go back to that. A third of all food goes uneaten, and the average American family loses $1,500 a year, which I was pretty shocked about, from food waste. So simply not eating it, it's going bad before they can eat it, and then they're just throwing it away. So a couple of different tips I have for you, about 5 different tips here, is make a plan when you head to the grocery store, stick to it, and use a calendar, get your kids involved, plan meal nights throughout the week so people can get excited about it, and then use your leftovers. Eat those leftovers and make a priority to eat those leftovers instead of them just sitting in the fridge. Number 2, get creative with repurposing food. Think, can I make this into a smoothie? Could I saute this? Could I make it into a sauce? Are these slightly wilted greens? Could I just maybe, put them in a pan and saute them and enjoy them that way? Or put them into a bowl of some sort, like a power bowl, or saute some vegetables and put them on a raw salad as well. Kind of a raw and sauteed vegetable mix up, so good. Number 3, freezers are your friend. So buying in large quantities, I think of Costco here, is only going to save you money if you use it all before it spoils, right? So sometimes knowing that we can put our stuff in our freezer, again, putting it at its peak harvest time is great to utilize later. Berries are great for that. Smoothie bags are great for that. And then number 4, juicer junkie. So look for recipes like muffins that you can upcycle your scraps, like carrot or apple pulp, if you're a big juicer fan, and things like that. See how you can utilize that instead of just throwing it into the trash. Number 5, preparation helps with elimination. So prep your veggies. When you get home, we talked about this for our people who were joining on the Master Chef program. So really making sure you prep them when you get home. You're more likely to use them if they're already prepped and ready when you're going to make a recipe or even as a snack. So make sure you do that as well. Cut, wash, and properly store them. Use glass bowls and containers when you can. Store the produce where they should be in the bins as well in your refrigerator. And then make it convenient to use and cook with. Also, there's the options, a couple of other options here. Donate to food banks, volunteer. If you're in the Atlanta area, Second Helpings is a great organization that Cox teams up with to eliminate food waste. So it means that you're volunteering, driving some food from Whole Foods or Sprouts to a local food bank that actually needs it. I volunteer there a good bit and I love it. You just drive from one place to the other, and they really love volunteers there as well. But yeah, a couple of other ways to repurpose: use soups, use your fruits, vegetables, mainly vegetables, in your soups, your frittatas, casseroles, pancakes, sauces. Get creative with it, and try to stick to that plan. Again, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. So those are my tips on composting. Again, something I'm very passionate about. And then eliminating food waste, also very, obviously very, very passionate about. So if you have any questions about either of those things, make sure you send me an email. My email is amy.bush@coxinc.com. I'd love to hear from you. Thank you guys so much for joining us, and let's continue on with making this world amazing, and really investing in what we can do to help with Mother Earth. Thanks, guys.